Okay, shall we start? So thanks for joining this energy track. We have called it Optimization Strategies for the Energy Transition. So it was a challenge for me as a Gurobi sales responsible for the energy division here in Europe to come up with a topic which would be interesting enough to fill 3 hours. Normally we have energy innovation summits where we spend 2 days on discussing special topics. So now here we wanted to combine the aspect of mathematical optimization, best practices, do's and don'ts, and use cases, and so on, together with the topic energy transition, because we believe that the energy transition is one of the driving factors for the world's changing landscape. So now I brought with me my colleague Lennart.
Nice to meet you, everyone. I joined Gurobi recently, actually 6 months ago, and I'm a technical account manager. And I was recently onboarded by our experts team. So today I'd like to speak a bit to you about how we support our users of Gurobi, and that it's a pleasure to work with this team. So nice to meet you, everyone.
Yeah, nice for joining. Thank you for joining this track. So the nature of this track, I call it a medley. It's a medley of relatively short presentations. We're trying to restrict ourselves to 20 minutes. In these presentations, we like to introduce, of course, the business case for which this energy application was designed, but would also like to hear from the presenters the experiences they have made, why they have selected optimization, what it brought to them, where the innovation needs are still be seen, and would allow you at the end of each track to ask questions, only 1 or 2, because we really have some time constraint. And towards the end of today, we're going to have a short panel discussion also where we would discuss more general topics about energy transition and usage of optimization in there. So what can we expect today? After Lennart and I introduce, let's say, the energy practice and a little bit of motivation for the activities Gurobi has in the energy space, we are happy that Arjen from Decide for AI presents from an integrator perspective, consulting perspective, how successful optimization applications are being built, maintained, deployed, and of course, how business cases for these application decision services can be detected. After that, we'll have a bigger block, which will be presented by Forschungszentrum Jülich, so research center in Germany, Jülich. We have Isyama and Lea here who will talk about the activities that the Forschungszentrum has got with respect to the first part with respect to a model and data compendium, which helps to build applications for the energy transition. And in the second part, it is the gamification of the campus in Jülich, where you can actively play and optimize the energy consumption and energy management of the campus. So we'll then have a break, and after the break we'll hear about PIPSA or PIPSA, presented by Marta from Open Energy Transition, so a company which has recently been founded to support this PIPSA open source framework. And after this presentation, we are going to hear from Kirit, also a young startup who provides energy applications, energy optimization for energy systems. And they will tell you about their innovative approach for the industry. Then our friends from Customized Energy Solutions from India will talk about their forecasting, pricing forecasting capabilities and storage solutions. And finally, we'll hear from Kistas, a German software provider for energy system optimization, about their experience for more than, I would say, 10 to 15 years, right, with optimization. So, and then we'll have this discussion panel. All right, so let's start with our short track. I can handle that. Yeah. So I'm Frank, this is Lennart. We introduce ourselves. Okay. Empowering a better future. Yeah, you will see in a motivational video in a short while what we think this is. I have initiated these energy practice within Gurobi because I recognized over time, especially in Germany, that there's a tremendous need for optimization applications within the transition system operators, but also distribution system operators, and more into the smart grid for municipalities and private households even. I introduced the companies already shortly. You have the agenda and the biographies of the speakers in front of you. And then let's start with a small video. Do I have to start it? Just press? Okay. Where's the bandwidth when you need it, huh? But it worked before. Let's come. I think we're coming back to plan B, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that maybe summarize it a little bit. I see since 5-6 years in Germany, especially, a tremendous amount of activities also stemming from startup companies, and I'm happy that the founders and the managers of these startup companies were able to come to this event and present. Thank you very, very much. And I hope it will be entertaining for you. So that was, for me, the main summary of this little initiative, that optimization is helping companies and communities more and more by simplifying the complex, maximizing the renewables, and creating a more resilient grid, which, when we had 2 keynote speakers from German TSOs, C-level keynote speakers on our recent Energy Innovation Summit, that's what they said. We need to keep the grid stable throughout the energy transition. That's their main concern. So with this, we want to introduce to you how we can help you accomplish these applications. And from here, then you might introduce you and your colleagues.
Exactly. So maybe a few more personal words from my side. I actually also have a background in energy system optimization. And so I can see how optimization technology is gaining traction, right? And it's being trusted by more and more people working in the field, but also people who depend on these solutions. And there's a lot of simulation going on, and many optimization methods, also like meta heuristics, for example, are being used. I personally always found mixed integer optimization the most fascinating. So I'm happy to see that it's being used more and more in this field. And with the following slides, I'd like to show you a bit how Gurobi tries to support everyone using Gurobi in this area. If you go back actually a bit by one slide. So one of our main pillars of why we think that Gurobi is more than just a solver is the support that we offer. We want to make sure that you're always getting the most value out of this technology, and it can be hard to use, and it can cause pains and headaches. And to kind of remove this pain a bit and get you moving more quickly, we have 29 technical account managers and experts and optimization engineers who work together to reply to all of the questions that you might have. And obviously, we're very happy that that some of our users get back to us and give us positive feedback about this. And I joined Gurobi 6 months ago. I've been working with all of these people. I can tell you it's a pleasure to work with them. Please reach out anytime you have a question. If you're a customer already, then that's very easy. If you're not a customer, then still reach out to us. And we are here to learn from you also, to also guide the development of the solver. Now, one perspective that we sometimes like to take is that we see Gurobi as performance advisor, and thereby we really try to get things right from the start. So when we get into a conversation with you and we discuss your business requirements, then we try to understand what are the optimization usage patterns, right? How often do you solve models? How much parallelism is required? What are the acceptable runtimes? What are the optimality tolerances? And we want to understand to make sure that Gurobi behaves the best way possible, so that you really get the largest value. Once we've covered that step, we go into architecture discussions. We can discuss what we have seen with other customers, right? We can give you suggestions on how to best set up your optimization pipeline, if you might call it this way. And then we can also discuss other performance considerations and security and failover scenarios. Once this is done, if necessary, obviously the level of expertise on the customer side varies a bit. We can also go into a jointly analysis of the mathematical model, and discuss your implementation strategy. And then when you're a customer, then you can be sure that Gurobi support is always there to fine-tune the algorithmic behavior so you get the best performance for your special formulation. And then I want to say that this really is it's not a one-way street, right? Basically, because models are always changing and business requirements are always changing, we're always in this loop of working with you together. And that's what we think is successful for us, but also for most of our users. And then when you provide these models to us that we can analyze and that we can maybe help you with, you also drive the research and development at Gurobi, because it's the customer models that are being used to benchmark basically every commit that happens to the Gurobi code base. So this really is a driving factor of what helps to get Gurobi perform better, perform faster with every release. And by supplying your model, obviously you kind of also help to make Gurobi an energy sector solver, right? The more models we have of a certain type, the more we can focus the development on a certain area, if we see that there are a few challenges to overcome.
Okay, just to add, this advisory is not something we sell as a consulting effort. That's something that comes within our support, within the support contract you have with us, or even before you buy, within the evaluation phase. And that's what we do on a daily basis.
Okay, coming to the next slide. I'd like you to meet the research and development team. And most importantly, I want to point out that we still have two of the founding members of Gurobi in the development team, Ed Rothberg and Zonghao Gu. And then also I'd like to point out Tobias Achterberg in the bottom row, who is our current VP of Research and Development at Gurobi. And I can say that these are all very, very smart people with deep technical, mathematical knowledge, and very capable in software development as well. Exactly. Now, for the very first time, Gurobi went a bit further and chose to not just publish a single piece of software, that is the solver, which is the main product, but also, and before this happened, the release of Gurobi Optimods, every user had to develop their own model, right? We supplied you with the opportunity to define variables and come up with constraints that define your business problem. So for the very first time, we released Gurobi Optimods, which are data-driven APIs for common optimization tasks. And these 9 that are presented on the right side, they are the initial start. The selection of problems might grow, and it's really inspired by the Python ecosystem, right? We are all being used to the fact that suddenly we stand in front of a problem and we want some solution, and we don't go straight into building our own solution first, right? We Google, we maybe find some code from other people, some repositories, and this really is first attempt to provide such problems. So with these Gurobi Optimods, you can solve problems without the need to dive into mathematical optimization. And also they're a way to kind of show best practice modeling using Gurobi Pi. And this is in addition to the modeling examples that we have already published as Jupyter notebooks. One thing I would like to point out specifically, because we're in the energy track today, is the AC optimal power flow optimod. And the AC optimal power flow problem is a fundamental problem for grid operators and many other places in the market. So this problem is being solved every day in the operation of transmission systems, but also in planning models. And it's a tough problem. It's nonlinear in its original formulation. So mostly the relaxed version, which is called the DC optimal power flow problem, is solved. It's linear and it's much more tractable than the original formulation, but it does come with error because of the linearizations. For some applications, I know that is enough, but at Gurobi, we try to incorporate more and more model classes to be able to also solve the complex non-convex and non-linear problems that come with many applications in the energy sector. So if you progress by one slide, we want to mention that with Gurobi 11, for the very first time, Gurobi will support global, mixed integer, nonlinear problem solving. And this will allow you to, for example, solve the AC optimal power flow problem in its calculation with polar coordinates, which is what comes closest to the physics that happens. So this will give you the highest accuracy in solving the AC optimal power flow. And hereby we can see that the development of Gurobi is driven by what is needed, right? What do the industries need? What do our customers need? And many have been asking for this for a long time. So very proud that this is finally happening. And then one more thing that we are very proud about is a joint research project in Optem. 2 of our colleagues actually work on this, and they sit geographically at the Chair of Operations Research at RWTH Aachen, and then together with the Electrical Engineering Institute working on power grids at RWTH and the transmission system operators and the FGH, they are working on innovative approaches to consider actions to reduce redispatch and to reduce congestions that might occur because of renewable energy in the grids. And this is a very tough problem to solve on the engineering level. It's a very tough problem to model and solve on the mathematical level. So that's why we're very proud to have all of these players involved and try to tackle these problems and do actual research and publish our results.
There's also in the collaboration in this research project, there's the three other German, the remaining German transmission system operators who are actively providing know-how, data, and a sandbox, so to say, that this can be tested and is not only a theoretical academical project, but is based on real data.
Yeah, so finally, I wanted to get across that we really believe that Gurobi, especially in the energy sector, is more than just a solver. We have a track record of numerous applications where we are being integrated. We look out for what is needed on the customer side and try to incorporate that into research and development, which now recently has resulted in the global mixed integer nonlinear programming capability. We contribute application code for the very first time, the optimal power flow, Optimod. I'd also like to mention that we constantly try to improve Gurobi Pi, the mathematical modeling framework that we ship with the solver. It's getting faster with every release. We support lots of general constraints to express logical relations or nonlinear functions that are then being considered in the solver as either piecewise linear approximations or, starting with version 11 in its original non-linear formulation, there's support for pandas data frames to more conveniently create your variables and constraints, and we have a machine learning integration. Then, as I mentioned in the beginning, the expert level support. And we also see ourselves as a collaboration and learning platform. And we facilitate this by events like today. And next year, there will be energy innovation summits organized by Frank. So I'm sure you will get invitations from him. And then obviously we also have the webinars, which are streamed, which you can sign up with and participate live, but they're also uploaded to YouTube. So go check that out if you can. Okay, and for today, these are the closing remarks. I'm very happy that you're all here. I'm very excited to listen to the presentations, and I suggest we all learn together and exchange ideas, discuss the challenges, and get different perspectives to then maybe reach a shared goal at one point. And I believe that your work on all of these interesting use cases, which are building district system control, educational content, standardized and open frameworks, optimizing storage operation, and simply making mathematical optimization accessible is all what gets us closer to this goal of reliable and sustainable and affordable energy supply. So I'm very happy to be here as a listener also, and thanks again for coming and presenting. Frank.
Also, thank you from my side. We have just 3-4 minutes if you have additional questions. Otherwise, we'll start a bit early with Arjen.
Just a quick question about Gurobi.
Sorry.
So, quick question about Gurobi Pi. You said it gets faster also. Normally, once you're working in Python, you always have also the Python slowness problem that many times a lot of things are implemented in C++ to make things fast. Do you know if this is part of what the speed up is coming from for Gurobi Pi, whether some modules or some functionality has been pre-implemented in the more faster languages or not? Or where does this speed increment in Gurobi Pi come from? Do you know this?
Yes, so sometimes we actually benefit from performance improvements in Python itself, right? So Gurobi Pi would get faster if you run it with a more modern Python version. But we also actively work on the internal logics, right, of how we add constraints and how we add variables. Also, quite recently, we added a matrix API or matrix-friendly API, we call it, which is a faster way to define models in some cases. So it's a trade-off between also readability, right, and how easy it is to implement, and then performance. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but we definitely benefit from Python developments themselves, right? Matthias would like to add, yeah.
They also improved performance just recently, like 10 or 20%. That was it already. Oh, yeah. So Python is what I wanted to say. This is the framework that is used to write Gurobi, and this got faster in the recent release.